Robert Pickton. The name alone sends chills down your spine. He was a nightmare hiding in plain sight, a monster who preyed on the vulnerable. This Canadian pig farmer became infamous for his horrific crimes. Pickton's reign of terror finally ended with his death in prison. The 74-year-old was violently attacked by a fellow inmate in a Quebec prison on May 19th. Pickton was rushed to hospital where he was put into a medically induced coma before succumbing to his injuries Friday. But the scars he left on families and society remain. Pickton's crimes were shocking in their depravity. He targeted women on the margins of society, many of them involved in Vancouver's downtown east side drug scene. Luring them to his farm with promises of food or money, he trapped them in a web of horror. The full extent of his brutality may never be known. The investigation into Robert Pickton's crimes was long and arduous. It was a gruesome puzzle that investigators pieced together bit by bit. The pig farm, once a place of rural industry, became synonymous with death and despair. As police combed through the property, the full horror of Pickton's actions began to unfold. They uncovered human remains scattered across the farm, some buried, others left in various states of decomposition. The sheer volume of evidence pointed to a staggering number of victims. The discovery of a freezer filled with human remains sent a collective shudder through the nation. It was a chilling reminder of the depravity of Pickton's crimes and the callous disregard he had for human life. The details, too graphic to describe here, became seared into the public consciousness. The investigation at the Pickton farm took a heavy toll on everyone involved. The police officers, forensic teams, and search crews worked tirelessly under unimaginable conditions. The emotional burden of witnessing such horror firsthand is difficult to comprehend. Robert Pickton's trial began in 2007, 5 years after his arrest. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence: DNA, witness testimony, and the gruesome discoveries at the farm. Pickton claimed innocence, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. The trial was a harrowing ordeal for the families of the victims. They sat through weeks of graphic testimony, forced to confront the horrific details of their loved ones' deaths. The emotional toll was immeasurable. In December 2007, Pickton was found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years, the harshest sentence available in Canada at the time. While the guilty verdict brought a sense of justice, it was a hollow victory for many. Pickton was initially charged with the murders of 26 women, but the Crown stayed the remaining 20 charges. This decision, made to avoid further traumatizing the families and to ensure a conviction on the strongest charges, left some feeling that Pickton had escaped full accountability for his crimes. Scars that remain. The impact on families and the legacy of Pickton's crimes. The shadow of Robert Pickton's crimes extends far beyond the boundaries of his pig farm. His victims were daughters, mothers, sisters, and friends. Their absence left a gaping hole in the lives of their loved ones. The families of Pickton's victims have shown incredible strength and resilience in the face of unimaginable loss. They have become advocates for the missing and murdered, working tirelessly to keep their memories alive and demanding justice for their loved ones. Pickton's case also exposed systemic failures in the investigation of missing persons cases, particularly those involving marginalized communities. The police were criticized for their slow response to the disappearances of women from Vancouver's downtown east side, a community often overlooked and underserved. The legacy of Robert Pickton is a dark stain on Canadian history. His crimes serve as a chilling reminder of the vulnerability of those living on the margins and the importance of speaking out against violence and injustice. A glimmer of relief: Pickton's death and the long road to healing. The news of Robert Pickton's death in prison brought a mix of emotions to the surface. For some, it was a sense of relief that his reign of terror was finally over. For others, it was a reminder of the pain and loss that would forever be associated with his name. Pickton's death, while unable to erase the past, offered a sense of finality. It closed a chapter on a dark and painful period. For the families of the victims, it was a moment to reflect on their loved ones' lives and to continue the long and arduous journey of healing. The healing process, however, is ongoing. The scars left by Pickton's crimes run deep. The families of the victims, the community, and the nation as a whole continue to grapple with the aftermath of his horrific actions. Pickton's death is a reminder that while justice may be served, it can never truly heal the wounds of such profound loss. The fight for remembrance, for justice, and for a safer society continues. It is a fight that honors the memory of the victims and strives to prevent such horrors from ever happening again.